Lots of people are talking about the new Sony a7 III battery. How long does this big boy last? How long does it take to charge? And why in the world would Sony not include a charging station with their new camera? All that and where to find a cheap solution in this video. My name is Luke, the creator of WeddingFilmCoach.com and executive producer at LW Films, and it's our goal at Wedding Film Coach to help beginners get started with video. And whether you need help defining your brand, developing your craft, or designing a profitable business, you are in the perfect place right now. And so whether you're doing weddings, commercials, or even just family films, then each of these videos are going to help you keep the edge over your competition. And so if you will, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the notification icon. That way each new video we come out with, you'll be the first to know and you'll be that much better. Okay, so have you ever been on a date? I'm talking like a really great date and it's going well. And maybe you're having dinner and the check comes and you're thinking, man, this date is going great. We're really connecting. And then all of a sudden you realize you forgot to bring your wallet. You don't have any money. And now this is a very embarrassing situation for you because you've put your best face on, you've actually showered, put some deodorant on, you know, all that good stuff. And now you are sit here with this embarrassing situation that you have to kind of backtrack on and say, I forgot my wallet, can you pay? Maybe if you're a girl, maybe that's happened to you. This is a horrible situation. This is kind of like what's happened with Sony's new camera. They have produced just an incredible camera at an incredible price point with incredible features, with an incredible, awesome battery, but they forgot to include the charging station. Oh. And so what actually happened here? First of all, I'll get the bad stuff out of the way. I think what happened here is Sony simply decided to give a lot of value with their new camera, a lot of value in the features, a lot of value in the price point, that they felt that they could skimp a little bit on the accessories that are already included with the camera and save a little bit of margin on that charging station. And I think what's going to happen is so many people are going to be upset about this that they're just going to opt for third-party options. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But I think that's what happened. They put so much value into this product. They decided, you know what, an extra $70 or $80 charging station? Nope, we're going to want you to pay for that extra. So, you know, it is what it is. This battery though, this is the new Sony NP-FZ100 battery, which is a huge improvement from this guy. This was their old battery, the NP-FW50, and it's much smaller. And so the new battery is much bigger. You can see them side by side there. It's a little bit thicker, not much. But overall, it's just a better battery. It doesn't take up that much more room once you get it into the camera. They've engineered more space in there, so it's not a big deal. And it lasts for probably 3 to 4 times longer than this little guy did. And so I filmed a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and this guy, I only used 2 of these for a whole wedding day. It was actually more than a whole wedding day. Usually I'll film for 8 hours. This specific wedding I filmed for 11 hours. I was like at 10%, I think, on my second battery whenever I started packing up for the night. And so I'm very impressed. Before, I would have to use maybe 4 or 5 or 6 of these smaller batteries, depending on kind of how the day was going and how much I was filming. And they would last for about an hour, which honestly I'm not going to complain about because that's always been the case for me. I used other brand cameras before and I feel like I would go through the batteries just as fast. And so a lot of people didn't enjoy the battery life on these old batteries. It didn't bother me because I was already used to it. I just bought some extra batteries. You know, they're not that expensive. Just keep them in your pack, keep them in your backpack or your pocket, and you're ready to go whenever they drain out. Not a big deal. But having these bigger batteries has been a joy to work with because I don't have to worry about it as much. It's one less thing that I have to include in my workflow through deciding which lens to use, deciding which aperture to use, getting the angles I need. And oh, I need to change my battery too. Like I don't have to think about that one extra thing. And that's really helpful. Just because I don't have to think about it, I can focus on my craft, I can focus on being in the moment, capturing what's happening, and not having to worry about these things dying quicker. And so I really enjoy that. And honestly, you kind of get a trade-off because before, when I was using these smaller batteries, yes, it would drain quicker, but it would also charge quicker. And so if I kept these rotating out, if one depleted to about 10%, I would take it out, put a fresh one in. I would go ahead and put this in a charging station that I had somewhere around the area, and it would probably charge in about an hour, maybe a little longer. This guy, it takes about 3 hours to charge once it's down to 5 to 7%. I think it took me about 3 hours to get it fully charged. So that's definitely a trade-off, but if they're lasting that long, if they're lasting 4 or 5 hours, it's not going to matter. Just get 2 of these and you're set, especially if you're a photographer. Because photography, I don't think it uses quite as much battery as video. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't do photography, I do video, but I think that 2 of these for photographers would be just fine. So you'll need to buy 1 extra battery because 1 comes in the box, just not a charging station. But if you're a videographer, I'm going to highly suggest you get a total of at least 3 of these new batteries, and that way you're going to be safe. And if you want to be really safe and you tend to go through batteries quicker, and you have a big project coming up and you don't want to risk 3, if you don't think you can get them charged throughout the day, go ahead and get 4. Relatively for a peace of mind, for an easier workflow, for just not having to worry about it through the day, an extra $70 to $80 for these things is well worth it. Trust me. And even now, I think just yesterday I saw where a few third-party companies are finally coming out with actual batteries. There are some that actually have charging stations, and that's the other thing I wanted to share with you. So the charging station that I got, I didn't get the Sony station because the one I found could only charge 1 at a time. And so the charging station that I got was the Numoa dual charging station, and it actually works with the USB cord and the USB charging brick, whatever you call this thing, the charging adapter. It works with that was included in the box, and so you can still use this that you got from Sony, because the thing you actually plug into the outlet isn't included with this charging station, so you'll need that. But it does great. Again, it charges it in about 3 hours. I would imagine if you did get the Sony version that it would probably charge a little bit faster, but probably not enough to make it worth the extra money that you'd have to pay for it, especially if you're not going to have to worry about replacing these every hour or something. You're going to have plenty of time to get that charged. And so I'll include links to the batteries, for extra batteries, and these charging stations in the description below. But I'm really excited for this battery. And honestly, I'm not too upset with Sony. They gave us a great camera. They gave us some great value. And if they're going to hold out an extra a charging station from me that I would have to pay an extra $50 or $60, then whatever, I'm going to pay for that, and I'm not going to gripe too much because this is really an incredible camera. If you haven't seen my other videos about the top 3 features and the first 3 things to do with your camera whenever you get it, check those out as well. And so our question of the day is, what third-party batteries would I suggest? And this is I say this with extreme caution because I've seen some conflicting reports online in some groups that I'm a part of and some forums, but I went ahead and purchased the Sony, the first-party manufacturer's battery, and they're doing great. Some people have said that Wasabi Power has come out with a third-party battery now, and some people say it works great, lasts just as long. I've seen other reports where they'll say that they're getting an error message in the camera when it's in saying that it's an incompatible battery. And it may have just been a fluke, it may be a firmware issue, I'm not sure. But for me, whenever I'm out shooting on a day, I need to know with complete certainty that the battery I put in my camera is going to work. It's not going to give me an error message. Again, like I said, I need to not even think about that. I need to be focused on the moment and capturing that for my clients. And so I have 4 of these right now, so I'm probably not going to get any more third-party batteries at this time. But if you don't have any projects coming up that you actually absolutely have to have it for, maybe go ahead and purchase one on Amazon. Test it out before you're with a client. Make sure it's working. Make sure it's not draining too quickly. Make sure it charges okay. And if you have a little bit of extra time before you actually have to use this for a job, then go ahead and try it out. Here's the charging station that I have for my smaller batteries, the a7iii Power. I'll put a link in the description below for that as well, that you can get their charging station and their third-party battery for these bigger guys. And you let me know in the comments if you've already tried that, how it works. Is it okay? Are there any error messages? Let us know in the comments below. I'm sure everybody else would like to know that as well. And so that wraps up our video for today. If you're planning on purchasing this camera or the batteries or the charging stations or anything I've mentioned, please use those links in the description. It helps me and it's no extra cost to you. It'll help me get more great content out. So again, you can stay one step ahead of your competition and keep that edge with each video we put out. And again, thank you for inviting me into a moment in your day. I hope this was helpful to you. And again, let me know in the comments what you think about these batteries. If there are any other suggestions for videos that you have questions about or you want to know about, just based from my experience with this camera or wedding filmmaking in general, I would love to help you out. For now, I'm Luke with weddingfilmcoach.com, and I'll see you in the next video.